or C, Dill Man, because she was quite a woman, quite a lady, and I've talked with Hugh many times, and so I celebrate her life today as on this 4th of July weekend, because she was U.S. Army Air Corps in World War II. And she was on the 100th Army Field Hospital, Bar-le-Duc, in Bar-le-Duc, France. And I think, you know, here's a woman who, and an individual, who happened to be a woman, in a time when it would have been easy for her not to do service like that. Sure, they were called. Sure, women were encouraged. But it would have been easy for this person to stay in the safety of her home. And yet, she is one of the examples to me of, and I'm so grateful for her service, and for her love of country, and for her long life, and that Hugh got to be part of that. So this morning I'd like to dedicate the service to Captain Dolores. So, thank you. Well, here we are, 4th of July weekend. Did you have a firecracker time? Did you celebrate? Did you do the traditional like barbecues and different things? Yeah, it's all pretty amazing stuff. I was invited because it was on my intention list for many years. Who knew why? But it just was. I trust that now. To go to a rodeo. And it happened to be in Taylorsville, up near Lake Almanor. Anyone ever been to the rodeo in Taylorsville? Boy, talk about an Americana, woo, flag waving. It was a great experience, and it made it. And when you performed America, beautiful, it took me right back there. So I know that those kinds of inner impulses, that when we trust that something great happens out of that for ourselves. And I haven't fully found what that is yet, other than that deep sense of commitment to our country's history and to freedom. So what's the reason for this holiday? It's the idea called independence, isn't it? We are independent. We are an independent, free nation, governing ourselves. And as a result of that, we get to celebrate, don't we? We get to say, hallelujah, great, let's have, in this case, 3 or 4 days of celebration, because it happened to come on Friday. I love that. Our nation, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all of us, not just one of us. Our nation was created to live in freedom, and I celebrate this freedom. And we as spiritual beings have been created to live in the divine idea of freedom. I celebrate this freedom too this morning. The freedom to choose. The freedom to co-create whatever we deem for ourselves, whatever that is. The freedom to say, I honor you for what you choose to create. To not see the differences, but to honor the creativity in life. I celebrate whatever we believe we are worthy of, because that's what shows up. And where do we believe? Where do we believe? Where do we believe? In consciousness. This teaching is all about consciousness. I have a quote. The source of all creation is pure consciousness. Pure potentiality, seeking expression from the unmanifest to the manifest. And when we realize that our true self is one of pure potentiality, we align with the power that manifests everything in the universe. We don't make it happen. Don't take that wrong. We don't make it happen. We allow it to be through us, through our ideas. We align with the potential, with the power. We are not the power. We're the power in our life. We are not the power. A little confused? Come to class. That's where the rubber meets the road. Now that quote was from The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. Can you just hear him saying, pure potentiality, seeking expression, from the unmanifest to the manifest. Oh, very good. Well, good morning, beloveds. The source of all creation is consciousness. Mind, God mind, one mind, whatever works for you. Could be, I don't know, Winnie the Pooh. It's all God. And we each have access through our utilization of consciousness. I love this teaching. I love this idea because there's never an end to our learning. There's always something more to know, something more to express. And for me, I'm always the student. I try to always listen, to be present with you, with people, with my life, to try to understand how this all fits in. It's not always easy. But my intention is there, and so the way is made available. Well, the truth about all of this is whenever we think, we are using the one mind. We are engaging in its use. And we activate the perfect process of what is termed mind every moment we live and breathe and use thought. Every time. Every time. You might often ask yourself, where in the heaven did that come from? Well, and that's okay, because it tells us where we are in our thinking. Thank you, I'm moving on from that. So every time we use our mind, every time we express, every time we feel, movement happens for our lives. So what is being activated by you today? What are you giving impetus toward for your life? What are you saying yes to? What are you saying no to? What are you confused about? I've been all that. But for me, the real moment of aha is going, oh, this isn't where my thinking is. Do I want to keep this going on, or do I want something different? What are you giving permission to show up as your life and as your experience? You know, Spirit is always in perfect time, perfect order, and number. I just came to that. I don't know. Perfect number. And when our life appears to be out of sorts, and the awareness is, oh my God, comes the opportunity for us to say, whoa, Nellie, I got to get off this horse. I've got to step off of this, let go of those reins, and maybe walk for a while. Maybe just stop that wild ride. But I have to make the choice to get off of that, to move away from that. Or let it move, as in a horse metaphor. Let it gallop off by itself, because it will. We choose to get on, we can choose to get off. When we aren't loving our surroundings, and it feels like hell, it is. It is. No denial there. It is hell. And that's hell on earth, when we are not loving what's going on in our lives. But I call you to remember that each of us lives in infinite potential. Infinite potential, possibility, and the perfect process of the divine truth that is God, when invoked, when recognized, when allowed, says yes to something new. But what is that new? What is that new? I had the good fortune in February to be in the presence of Jean Houston. And she's a teacher, author, visionary thinker. And in her book, The Wizard of Us, she goes through a lot of the ideas of the Wizard of Oz and what they are behind the story. Great book, great book. But in there, she says this: there is no more elevated task than to learn of our own free will, the skills of living in eternity, and consciously becoming intimate friends with ourselves. We are directly participating in the live stream of the universe and consciously cultivating the body that is your vehicle through the deep ecology of the Mother Universe, through eternity. So it's getting in touch with who we really are, eternally, and carry that forth through our experience and then into eternity. If we believe that who we are is spirit, soul, in a body, in this house, in this wrapper, if you will, and there's something to move to because we've moved from, then why not? Why not live eternally now? Why not? It's our potential. What are we waiting for? Permission from someone? Somewhere? Out there? If you're like me, when you were a child, I had to go to my parents and ask permission to do something. And that's always good teaching for a parent, isn't it, parents? To have your kid tell you what they want to do, they just go out and, well, are we still playing the child card? Deferring to someone else for our own life? Have we not stepped out of childlike living? I did for years. I did. Until this teaching. And I found the perfect process for living my life. Living my life. Now, did all those deferring patterns stop all at once? No, they didn't. Some still pop up. Oh, whatever you want to do, fine with me. No, it's not. Not always. But if I don't really have an opinion about something, okay, I'll think about it, give us some thought, and see how it feels. But then I trust the yes or the no, not the maybe. One thing my parents told me just popped up like a piece of toast was, we'll see. When I asked them, how many of you love that? Not me. Which meant no.
Yeah, that's right.
It was just a delayed no. Why not just tell me no? Then I could go on to some other annoying question. So, but, back in the toaster. So it didn't stop all at once, all that other pattern. Because it doesn't. It takes time. I had lots of tantrum behavior in between time as an adult. You know what it looks like, right? You've been in moments of intense fellowship with people you know. Well, I have. You know, there's times in life when you want to kick and yell and scream and just do that whole little kid tantrum. But now, when I do it, it's mostly inside. I feel it's just like a churning inside. So I have to say, whoa, stop, wait, what is this? I don't let that out as much anymore, thank God. So are you living in the divine idea of freedom this day in your life? Or are you deferring your good to a later date or to someone else? We all have at our mental fingertips access to the greater aspect of ourselves. Listen to Mark this morning, his fingertips, as an example. I love that you can do that. And I'm just like kind of following your, I guess it's this hand, isn't it? On the strings. I know the strings are probably the 90% important part of getting the strum out. So, we have at our fingertips all that we need. The intelligence of an infinite spirit that forever is the giver. The spirit is the giver. It is up to us to give it what? Permission for its fruition, to bear its perfect fruit. A great book that I was given by Dr. Carolyn. It's called Values, A Philosophy of Human Needs. Is this an old book, I think? 1932. It's a conversation with Ernest Holmes and Milton Sills. And this is a response from Dr. Holmes. The only way we shall ever know this greater intelligence is by using it. It must be an extension of the intelligence we are now using. There is already something in us that has possibilities of transcending anything we have experienced. We do not call on a God afar off. The only God we can ever know is within. So I believe in an indwelling self, which knows more than our conscious mind perceives. The permission factor is personal to each of us. The choice is always ours. And so in February this year, at the Ministers' Conference in, where was I? No. I'm going to talk about Seattle this morning. I was given the opportunity to give myself permission to apply for consideration to go to the Minister's Ongoing Education in Seattle. There's one every year. Now, out of those who applied, 26 people are chosen. I applied and said, oh, well, I'm going to do the process and I'll see if this is the right thing for me to do. So, the process, the list, the essay, off it goes. Well, the very last day of what I thought was the window of response time from the organization came this, congratulations, you've been accepted. And it's free to me. The conference itself is free. I just must get to Seattle. I can do that. I can do that. And so, am I a little bit nervous? Yeah, because it's inner work. It's what's next for my ministry. So I'm putting it out there, stepping out. What's next for this ministry? What's next for this center? What's next for our community here? What's next? Because it begins with all of us. So I am requesting your love and support for whatever is next. What do you want to see as next through this ministry? The next 2 Sundays I won't be here. The first Sunday, I had a shift in consciousness. I get to go to my nephew's life celebration. He was 49. I told my sister when she said, I would really like you to come. I said, well, okay, let me open the doors. So there's lots of doors when you are committed with speakers and stuff. And you know what? Within 2 hours, I had changed things. Everything fell into place because I let go of the fear. Let go of the fear. And I allowed the potential, the process, the unfoldment. So I'm leaving, going to San Diego, spend 3 days with family, fly to Seattle, do the conference, come home. And it's so easy when you just let Spirit do it. It's so easy. The perfect times, the perfect flights, everything was all changed without any additional cost to me. But in the past, I would let fear say, "Oh, you can't do that. It's going to cost you this. It's going to be this," and it would be. It would be. So, I just wanted to tell you a little personal story about my own self and how it works. To give yourself permission is big. To give what you know is feeling like the right thing to do. And say, Spirit, let it open. Let this perfect opportunity, if I'm to be in this particular experience, allow it to open up. I didn't outline it, I just opened the door in consciousness. So when we give permission of and for something greater appears. And many times I'm so amazed, and it's profound. And yet it's very natural. It's very natural when something like this happens for us. I know each one of you probably have a story that is as profound, if not, comparing, back away, no comparing, as profound as this one. But it's good to be reminded that there's always something more to know and learn and grow into. So release the fears, my friends, by embracing your spiritual guarantee. You know you have one, don't you? Spiritual guarantee. It's like a warranty. It's like a warranty. Without any expiration date. Because Spirit goes on, you see. Spirit goes on. So I'd like you to listen to this statement. It's an affirmation. And then I'd like us to say it together. I am divinely supported as I allow Spirit its perfect process. Let's say it together. I am divinely supported as I allow Spirit its perfect process. It's a perfect process. Love and blessings. Love and blessings and freedom. I love you. Namaste. So it is.